every time Max tweets something like, in a good spot going into the weekend, love this place, hashtag positive vibes only, you should just respond like NVO and just a short video of you throwing a club.
Pin position on 17 was a disgrace yesterday.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports, brought to you by our friends at Chevrolet, the greatest car company of all time. Why are you smirking? Did I do that opposite?
Why am I smirking?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that I was smirking. No, you're doing it perfectly.
Okay. Sometimes I don't know if it's the presenting or the brought to you or sponsored by. I always mess that up because it's brought to you by Barstool Sports and it's presented by Chevrolet. The way Riggs does it always confuses me.
I'm not sure which way what verbiage is correct, but I'm
not the most verbiage guy.
That's all right.
We have a fantastic show for you today. Riggs is at the Pinehurst Riggs Cottage right now. So for the entry of the show, for the beginning of the show, he will not be attending. But him and Danny got a huge fish. I would say a white whale for the Foreplay podcast. This was a guy that we've talked about for a long time with his anger issues, and you never knew just what kind of guy he was. I find him to be hilarious at how outrageous of a person he is. He also has a very good sense of humor, as you could see in some of those European tour videos where he has anger management, where he basically plays a character like he's in a sketch comedy show. But it's Tyrrell Hatton, and he's on the Foreplay podcast. And how did that go, Danny? Because Trent and I were not on that because we were filming a massive video here on Long Island. How did that go?
Yeah, it was, the first 20, we have a full hour with him, which is great. And it's always awesome. Nice to get that kind of time because it often takes a little while for these guys to settle in. I don't think Tyrrell does these things very often. So I think he's also very wary of the media in general because he knows the narrative around him. Like I remember we had agreed to do the interview and, his agent person was saying, he feels like he doesn't get a fair shake from the media, blah, blah, blah. And then last week he said something I think he said fucking shithole about something. And then Golf Digest made this huge quote graphic about it. And he's like, that's just Bush League. So I think he's definitely was a little bit wary of us to begin with. But the last 30 minutes, you could tell he started to get more comfortable and his personality started to come out. He's very self-deprecating. He's very aware of himself and how much he moans. The funniest thing is he was complaining on the podcast about how he never gets a feature group, and he was saying that he has to play his ass off for anyone to show him on TV. And then I got a text saying, check the groups. This week he's paired with Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth.
No way.
Yes.
Holy shit.
So he was like, I saw him today. He's like, can you edit that out? I was like, absolutely not. No way. People are going to love that. So yeah, he's cool. He's people have said he's a very different person off the golf course than he is on, and he's very soft spoken and very polite. But you can tell when you get him going about golf. I mean, we talked about mud balls, we talked about plug lies, we talked about everything he hates about golf, and he's a white whale. It was good to get him on the show.
It's a huge get, and that's another one. Shout out to Dan Rappaport. He locked that one down for the podcast, so huge shout out to you. And that's an interesting takeaway or an interesting opinion that he has because John Rahm, we've talked to him a lot now. That was sort of the way he was painted by the media, where it was like, he's this guy who's angry all the time. He just loses his mind on the golf course. And it seems like John Rahm's recent approach is I'm going to do a bunch of media and I'm going to show people that that's not what I'm like. And it sounds like Tyrrell is kind of taking the opposite approach. He's coming on the podcast, so it's maybe changing a little bit. But I do think, and this has been the case pretty much with everyone that we've ever talked to, regardless of what their public perception is, their perception on the golf course is, when you sit them down, you talk to them for an hour, like you guys do with Tyrrell, a different side of them comes out. And it's usually a side that ends up being, oh, this is just a normal guy. And I think the more media that a guy does, a lot of them don't want to do media, and I get that. But a guy in his position, and John Rahm was in a similar position, the more you do, the more people are going to see the side where it's like, this is a normal guy.
Yeah, I will say I think John Rahm is a lot more of a normal guy than Tyrrell Hatton is. I wouldn't say that I would describe Tyrrell as a normal guy. I like him. I think he's very charming. I'm not sure I would describe him as a normal guy. We asked him if, I don't want to spoil too much, but he was saying as a kid he was an absolute lunatic. Like, this has just been him forever. So I think people are really going to enjoy hearing from him. I heard you guys had some drama yesterday as well.
We won't talk about that just yet. That's coming in the next couple of weeks as the editing machine rolls on in the New York City office. But Trent and I filmed A very big video, I would say, and I'm very excited for that to come out. We've got a bunch of videos coming out, but just to close the Tyrrell stuff, I mean, that is so big for this podcast to get a guy that a lot of listeners don't know exactly who he is, and he's such a character on tour that this is going to be such a big episode for him and us, where like you now are going to know who he is, and he's always in the mix. He's always doing something that's worth the camera being put on him. We're always talking about him on social media. He's always going viral in golf Twitter, like with doing something ridiculous after a putt or a missed putt or whatever. And now, after listening to him talk to you guys for an hour, you're going to be able to really know who that guy is. And it's going to just be so much. That's what this whole entire podcast is like supposed to be. Obviously, we make dick jokes and talk about hot guys that we saw at Irondequoit, but this is supposed to show the difference, that like who these golfers are and like the real side of who these people are that we watch on TV every weekend. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and you could tell the first 15, 20 minutes he was in sort of press conference mode, where he was just sort of answering questions, moving on one to the next. By the end, there was a noticeable shift, and he started asking us questions, and it was more of a conversation. And that's the goal, I think, is to kind of remove that formal layer and have these guys open up. Wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get invited back to Augusta National next year, but he's one of a kind. I respect not to use a word that I see a lot, or a phrase I see a lot on Instagram. He's authentically himself. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
he's very authentically himself, and I respect that.
He's also a hell of a player. What did he shoot on Sunday at the Players this year?
Yeah, he finished second at the Players. He was seven over through 9 holes. Yeah, it was crazy. It was weird. He was 7 over through 9 holes at the PGA and ended up finishing 15th. He hung in there. So, yeah, he's had a great year. I think he's definitely going to make the Ryder Cup team. He's definitely part of that younger core. So, going to be seeing a lot more, and I think I'll have a bunch more fans after this.
You know that we've been a part of the Chevy EV family, but we've got big news. The first ever all-electric Chevy Silverado is officially Barstool's most valuable truck, the MVT. We got a chance to see this thing in person and experience it in Scottsdale, and it was a game changer. Available 400-mile range, GM estimated on a full charge, which is just way more miles than I'm getting on any regular car. And the fact that this thing's electric and that it's a Silverado is incredible. Large 17-inch diagonal display screen. We've talked about the infotainment system inside this thing. Truly game-changing, truly innovative, truly futuristic. It can tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing, 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with WOW mode, and up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque for all you manly men that are trying to torque things and drag them around this great earth we have here. So head over to Chevy.com to learn more, pick out your trims, pick out your colors, pick out your flatbeds, pick out your infotainment systems at Chevy.com. Check out the Chevy Silverado, the all-electric Barstool's MVT, Chevy.com.
Speaking of the Ryder Cup, you're out at the Memorial right now. Rory McIlroy gave a press conference talking a little bit about Ryder Cup. What exactly did he say? I saw a couple quotes.
Yeah, I asked him. I said, John's been here. John was in here saying he just wants the 12 best Americans, the 12 best Europeans. Patrick Cantlay was in here just saying he wants 12 best Americans, 12 best Europeans. So I said, you've said in the past that you don't think the LIV guys should play. Do you still feel that way? And he said, I certainly think Brooks deserves to be on the team. He said, you look at how he's played in the 2 majors. There's no one who's been as good as he has in the majors. And I certainly think that he deserves it. Then he kind of said, I don't know if any of the other players are good enough on merit. And then he said, but I feel differently about the European guys and how that whole thing played out. So I think there is a lot of animosity, not necessarily between Rory and Brooks. Remember, we saw that clip where Rory was talking to Brooks and he's saying, I'll talk to you later. I think Rory sees DJ all the time in Florida. I do not think that Rory and that sort of older European guard, the Sergio Garcias, the Lee Westwoods, the Impulters, I do not think that they are on good terms.
Yeah, it would be tough. I mean, I just don't know what the decision is going to be, but having a Ryder Cup team with those European guys, kind of the older guard, and having Rory on that team, the locker room stuff is going to be a nightmare because he's very publicly against it.
He's not just, but it's kind of shifted in my opinion. It seems like it's not so much anti-LIV now; it's anti those guys. I think he really, really doesn't like those guys, and it's an interesting sort of line to draw.
That's where it gets, you kind of losing the plot if you're Rory with that.
I mean,
because if you just don't like those guys for whatever reason, and if it's not because of the live stuff, like, then why are you drawing that line?
I think he would say that, you know, they turned their backs on the European tour, and, you know, they were, because to be fair, those guys were they were a lot more mouthy than the American guys who went over, other than Taylor Gooch, who, you know, probably isn't going to be on the team because of that mouthiness. I think the mouthiness really pissed a lot of people off. I think if you went to live and you kind of just did your thing, like Harold Varner or like Brooks or like DJ, for whatever reason, it's not going over quite as harshly. But yeah, you're right. It's the objection initially was, oh, where the money's coming from, what it's doing to the game. Now it's like, Sergio Garcia is an asshole and I don't like him.
That's an interesting place to be if you're Rory. I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, they're going to
voice. Is that voice starting to go, Dan? I can hear it kind of like starting to fade away.
No, I just needed like a good one of those. I'm back. I got the wedding in 10 days, so I'm really trying to keep the tones hushed.
I try to.
You do battle through those like gargly voice moments. You just keep going. You know what I mean? I'm a big like, I got to stop and clear it because I'm very conscious of it. Because I'm always like, you got a bubble in your throat. I say it to everyone. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I just feel like you got a bubble in your throat. Like I'm always constantly telling people, like, I think you got to clear it out. So that was me just like subconsciously letting you know, I think you needed to clear that out just for everyone.
It's gone. It's absolutely gone now.
And for anyone that doesn't see, if you're listening and you're not watching on YouTube, Danny's at the memorial. So he's just inside what looks like a government building. I asked him if he was at the DMV, but I mean,
they keep on redoing the golf course. They have not redone the media center since 1986. That much is very clear. So yeah, it's
how is it out there?
It's good. It's hot. I'm only here today and tomorrow. Doing one of these Tuesday, Wednesday deals that I've been doing more of, because once a tournament starts, as you guys have known, you guys do the same thing. Once a tournament starts, you don't really get much. I just cleared it.
It's huge. Back. You know, we'd rather that's huge for everyone.
Okay, I'll make a note to do that going forward. So I'm doing a lot of the Tuesday, Wednesday stuff moving forward, because I feel like that's when I can actually talk to guys and go to press conferences. Once a tournament starts, it's tell me about that up and down on 12, and it's like, I hit it close and then I made the putt, and it was big for the momentum. You know, it's the same.
Can we talk about this piece of shit from Golf Digest that wrote that article yesterday about
I recuse myself.
Oh, come on. Who the hell is this guy?
I wouldn't go as far as to call him a piece of shit. It's just an article. Fill people in about what it is. We'll do it briefly. We won't go crazy because it's not that, it's egregious for sure. But it's like,
what are you talking about? Have we become a bunch of emojis numb to the use of profanity? And this guy just writes an absolutely sucking his own dick about how he thinks that golf needs to be in a place where they used to wear fucking caps and pointy shoes and ties, and the women wearing dresses and everyone was polite, and that the Netflix series, basically this guy doesn't like the word fuck. He hates the word fuck. It really drives him crazy. He says that the Netflix series and guys like Rory and Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, it's gonna stay on them like a bad tattoo.
I didn't like that line. I didn't like the tattoo line. It felt personal.
God. The Netflix series will live on like a bad tattoo on these guys' careers, essentially, because they use the word fuck. When Rory said "fuck you, Phil," that made this guy sent him into the corner making shivers. So I don't know anything. You know, I'm not a big like Golf Digest guy. So like, what's this guy's
really?
deal? Like,
that's stunning.
You know what?
Jerry
Tard.
Yeah, Jerry Tardy. He's like the dean, the Don. He's like basically built Golf Digest. He's a member of Pine Valley and Wingfoot, and he's just a very, you know, they call him the dean of golf journalism. He's like kind of created the magazine. But he's obviously, you know, he's probably in the 60s, and the game has changed. I'll say that much.
Right. The reason I was going to say is like why I don't want to go crazy is because this is such a 2014 opinion that he has that it's not even something to worry about. Like, this is a guy, the quotes that are from that article are from an AI generated old golf media guy. Like, it's not like I see this and I don't even worry about it. I'm just like, what is this? This is so outrageous that I can't believe that in 2023, this is the approach and the angle that he's taking. This was my favorite quote, and I tweeted this at you, Frankie. He said, and I quote, "I look at sepia pictures of old tournaments, and every man in the gallery is wearing a coat, tie, and fedora. The women are in dresses and pearls. They weren't all rich folks either. Adults wore leather shoes, not sneakers or flip-flops. I know I'm out of touch, but nobody looks good in those silly jogger pants and flat brim caps."
Sounds like that guy wants to go back into the old times, you know?
Maybe too far.
And let me tell you something about the old times when they were wearing flat brims or sepia.
That died of the century.
Oh my God, well, yeah. When they were wearing tippy-toed fucking shoes and women were wearing dresses and pearls, you know, like that wasn't the greatest time. That wasn't the greatest time if you really want to go back to that, man.
Right.
I don't know why you don't like joggers and flat brims. It's just it's for everybody. It's not exclusive. You know what I mean? Like you want it to be that game again. I would love to sit him down. That's why I called him. Did I call him an asshole? That's why
a
piece of shit. Because you're basically saying that you need a specific type of person to play the game that you consider or that you write about for the rest of this is your game, right? This guy's the Don he's the newspaper, he's Golf Digest. Like he has his mark on this game and he, in his mind, thinks that it needs to be a specific way and that he's actually mad that like other people are enjoying it essentially, right? If I wear joggers and flat brims and that's the way I like to consume golf and that's the way I like to play golf, he's actually saddened by that. Which really grinds my gears.
So when I saw the joggers and the flat brim and the tattoos, I actually did a Control F for my name because it felt that personal.
It's like this guy Dan Rappaport, he was at Golf Digest, he was at Barstool Sports.
Like I honestly felt that it was felt a little personal. No, it definitely wasn't about any one person in particular. But I also thought it was interesting that he was saying he's like when I play in these pro-ams, I hear the pros say the F word. It's like so that's not you're not even really mad about like the people at the public golf course who are playing music. You're mad at like PGA Tour pros getting frustrated and saying the F word. So I don't, it's who is in your.
We need to attract younger and more diverse audiences, but this is the way to do it. When Harry Styles plays golf, he wears a collared shirt. And fuck this guy.
Wait, is that even true?
Fuck.
I don't know. And like Frankie's saying,
Styles wears like a ponytail.
I played behind Harry Styles at Deepdale once, and he was wearing like the coolest shirt of all time. It definitely wasn't something that you would see in a sepia picture. Let me tell you that.
And like Frankie's saying, if you got into a time machine and went back to whatever vague time period he's referring to, the people are cursing and they're mean and they're just people. Everyone is throughout time. Just because you think the past is better, you're looking at it through rose-colored glasses. It's all pretty much the same. Things just sort of shift and they become, thankfully in golf, more inclusive.
More inclusive.
Yeah, as golf has gone forward, you look at the way things are going now, it's in a better spot. He's got some, rainbows and gumdrops version of the 1950s for some reason when it's just that's not what you think it is. And for some reason he's using that as his angle to attack the F word. It's very confusing to me.
It's bizarre. It's a way more diverse game nowadays. It's not just old white men and white women wearing pearls and necklaces and
pearls thing felt very specific. I don't know why.
Pearls was extremely specific. It was almost like he was thinking about his mother or something. It was fucking weird. But at the end of the day, it's a better game today than it was in the 1950s. And for him to not see that, and I know it's just his opinion, right? But we're allowed to just bash opinions. It's just opinions. I'm not saying, I called him a piece of shit. Yeah, but like he could still be a nice guy. I hate this take. I despise it. He knows that his take is going to be taken in one way or the other by putting it and publishing it on Golf Digest. So it made the rounds on Twitter. It's one of the crazier things you'll ever see, I think, in golf. The fact that this is still around, the fact that people are at the helm of golf media and they have that take. It's sad, but at the end of the day, they're the ones getting pushed out. The comet's coming. The dinosaurs are almost out. And it's almost time for these guys. We got to get them clean white shoes and point them towards the window because that boy needs to be put in a home. That guy needs to be put in a home. Can we add him to the home with Jeff Shackelford?
Sure.
Because a door just opened up and they just put on new linens on his bed and they got the Monday through fucking Friday pills set up on his dresser and they're gonna walk in and bingo's on Tuesday night and we got to put Tardy. We got to throw Tardy in that home. You got to throw him in the home. That home has one new member. Okay. We went down for Jeff Shackelford. All right. Cause it's getting split.
So the last time we did this and it was at the 2019 President's Cup, obviously that was more of a direct attack from that from old Hugsy.
For sure.
And at that point, it was fun, and it's still fun. And it's even more fun having a guy who was employed by that company watching Frankie do the home thing, because watching Dan Rapp has his hand over his face right now. It's so wonderful to watch.
This guy took me to Pine Valley. I mean, like,
Woo! Listen, it is what it is. It's just,
this is the risk you run with having, you're a public person with a public opinion. People,
when I say things, and our producers, I love our producers, but sometimes they're fucking dumb. But when our dumb producers will put the stupidest thing I said on the podcast out and about, just all over Twitter and Instagram, you don't think people call me a piece of shit?
Oh yeah,
I used to be a real piece of shit. Speaking of that, the new season of I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson is out, and it's fantastic. I've watched the first 2 episodes. That guy's humor is just, it's like he took my brain out and put it onto a Netflix sketch comedy show. But this guy, you're going to get backlash, and I'm sorry. And yeah, it's easy for us to tee off on this. This is something that we've been fighting forever. And it's like, it's just the easiest shit to be like, you're old. This is a bad take. I hate you. And to get all worked up. And it seems like we're just doing it for content. I genuinely hate this take. I genuinely think that this is bad for the game of golf. I think guys like this are what makes it exclusive. And everything that we're trying to do is the opposite of this.
I just didn't think I would see
brands like Malbin and all these things. Even us, like, we're releasing hoodies and flat brims. I mean, you're wearing a flat brim right now, Danny. Like, this is like where it's going. Sorry that this is the culture. Sorry that more people from more different walks of life and who have way more interests, and they come from different sports and different cultures and all these different things, and now they're starting to like golf. I'm sorry that that's happening. Like, I'm sorry we're not all wearing the same 3-piece suit and we're taking sepia pictures and fedoras and pearl necklaces and dresses. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but you know what? Golf's way better for it. What do you think he thought when it was raining and they all were wearing the backwards hat and Rory was wearing the backwards hat? I mean, come on, dude.
Probably turned it off.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it feels like a 10-year-old take. It really does.
But dude, it came out in 2023.
No, I know. I'm surprised.
On Golf Digest from the dawn of fucking Golf Digest. Like, it's still coming out. That's bad. It's a 2014 take, and it's happening still.
But nowadays,
walking on eggshells is still around.
Now it gets lambasted bad. People go crazy about it. If you look at that tweet, I kept looking at the quote tweets, and people are like, this guy's out of his mind. This is an insane take.
There were so many curses in the quote tweets and the responses. So many curses. Everyone threw in a fuck in there. It was incredible. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Definitely not great.
No.
Sorry you had to be a part of that, Danny. But it's just the world we're living in.
It's part of the deal. And he liked it.
It's part of the deal. You're on the other side now. You're wearing the flat brim. I'll see you in a fedora.
It's definitely been not eye-opening, but it's been different, like, in a good way. The people that we see at our events, and the people who buy our merch, and the people who say hi to us, it's a different, in a much, like, not that we don't have the country club people, because we do. It's not like just because we're wearing this stuff doesn't mean that people at these nice clubs don't like our content and what we do. But there's also a wider range and a wider audience for it, and I think it's fantastic.
It's always good.
Speaking of good things, I want to talk about TaylorMade for a second. TaylorMade golf balls specifically. This is from the gallery. We're finally going to get to a from the gallery question. I know that we never get to them, but today we are, and that is brought to you by our friends at TaylorMade. They're giving away something incredible, which is a year's supply of TaylorMade golf balls, TP5 or TP5X, as one prize. And then the second prize, we're giving away 2 things in this sweeps. One year supply of balls, and then the second is a half a year, 6-month supply of golf balls. So 2 winners, all for the TP5, TP5X golf balls from TaylorMade. They are, the TP5X, of course, is TaylorMade's fastest and longest tour ball. It's like hitting rockets off your Stealth 2 driver face. The TP5 is a way more spinny and the softest golf ball that you'll find. So make sure that you go to TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps to enter this contest. You have a chance to win a year's supply of TaylorMade golf balls, which is incredible. It's the only golf balls we play, and we all see game improvement from that. I mean, it's just the best ball. It really is. No matter what you're using right now, go out and try it, and definitely sign up at TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps. So you have a chance to win.
Yep.
From the gallery, from Cody, says, what are your thoughts on a course not handing out anything for a hole-in-one? I recently got one on Sunday. Shout out to Cody. Very nice. Congratulations.
Really
recently got one on Sunday and went to the clubhouse after, and all I got was well, I guess you owe around a beer to your playing mates and a handshake. Am I wrong for thinking courses should hand out some sort of recognition from north of the border in Ontario? You're not wrong at all.
What is standard operating procedure, I guess?
What is standard operating procedure?
Yeah, like if someone gets a hole-in-one, let's say at Colonial, what happens?
You get an email sent out. I know that. We've gotten emails all the time.
I did see that the other day.
Which is nice
actually.
recognition, right? I think that's all this guy's really asking for is like maybe your name up on the wall or like some sort of tally where it's like your mark on the game of golf has been recognized. You made a hole-in-one. It's like the achievement that everyone tries to achieve. We can't become pros. We can't win the Masters. We can't win the US Open. But what we can do is we can maybe do that one thing in life where we get the ball in the hole in one shot. And we just want a pat on the back. We want that mini trophy. We want to be able to say, look what I got. You know what I mean? Don't make it all up to the guy to do it. He has to go on Amazon. You got to get a ball. You got to get a ball frame. You got to do like, that's all. Like if one guy wants to do, I want a standard operating procedure. When I make a hole in one, I'm getting what I know what I'm getting.
My buddy got one back in the day and I'm pretty sure he got his name in the paper. I think
that's amazing.
Right. It like has the name, his name, the course name, what club he used. You can clip that thing out, frame it. I know that my dad, when he got a hole-in-one at the Real Home of Golf, St. Andrews in Cedar Rapids, there was a plaque on the wall that had all of the hole-in-ones, and there's just like a little nameplate that said Gary Ryan on it, that he loved that.
And now that was on the simulator.
That was a simulator, right.
Yeah, which is incredible.
I thought I mentioned that. Yeah, it was a simulator. But
that's the best.
You actually bring up a good point. I don't know how you would do this. There almost needs to be a hole-in-ones governing body where they take all of them, and you would have to have it authenticated by the club where it happens. So you
like
just
Guinness Book of World Records,
something like that, where you get like in the mail, you get a certificate that has all the information, the date, maybe your picture, and then obviously you have the ball. You frame the whole thing. I think there needs to be a hole-in-ones governing body that manages all of this.
So that would mean that every single golf club in America needs to basically subscribe to this governing body. You pay X amount of dollars a month just to keep this thing up and running, just so that they can have enough money, obviously, to run their operation. But the golf courses have to pay for that, right? You have to be that's an expense on the pro shop where you're now part of the subscription where if anyone at your golf course gets a hole-in-one, they send it onto this system. It goes to the all-world hole-in-one headquarters. And they, by the way, what's like the acronym of that? All-world hole-in-one headquarters. It's the AWHIOH.
Hawaii.
AWI
in
all world hole-in-one.
AWHOI. HOI.
OIO.
We'll work on that. We'll work on the name.
My brain can't I can't figure it out.
We're struggling with the acronym, but it's a good idea.
At the end of the day, that organization, that world organization sends you something, whatever it may be. Like you said, whatever it may be, a certificate, right? It could be $3 worth of their time, but you're getting something in the mail. You are.
Like how many hole-in-ones are there per year?
Per day, I would say.
How many are there?
You think there's more than 150 hole-in-ones a day?
Not a chance.
Really?
Nope.
Really? Across the world?
No.
Why?
That's a really interesting question, though. How many hole-in-ones are there per day? Because I was thinking per year, because what this organization, like how much legwork is there actually? Like, I can't be 150. I would say
on average, over 1 million rounds of golf are played every day. That's a whopping 377 million golf rounds per year. So there's a million rounds of golf every single day. What are the odds of a hole-in-one?
All right, we're going to have to do some math. Everybody just bear with us here. We're going to have to do a little bit of math, but I do want to know because the number can't be that high.
The odds of making a hole-in-one are 12,500 to 1.
Oh, boy.
For professional golfers, the odds of making a hole-in-one drop to 2,500 to 1.
So they're saying this is going to be tough.
So now you basically have to do 1 million divided by 12,500.
1 million divided by 12,500.
Yeah.
And that's that's a per day number.
That would be 80 hole-in-ones per day.
Even that seems high.
That does seem high, but that's just like going off of the first thing that came off Google, right? And no one really knows how many there are a day, but I guess they're saying.
Because think about, I mean, this is anecdotal, obviously, but we're in the world of golf. We have a big golf podcast. We got a big golf YouTube. Like people send us when they get a hole-in-one, they'll just DM it, be like, I got my first one today. We're in the world of golf. Like it just doesn't feel like there's 80 a day. That seems way, way too high.
Dude, honestly, it's probably over to 100 now because that number, the 377 million rounds of golf played per year, was from a survey taken in 2012.
Yeah, it's definitely gone up then.
Way up. So
this organization that we've created is going to have, that's a lot, man. 80 times 365. That's 29,000. That's 29,200 a year. Hole-in-ones based on a 2012 survey.
How many?
29,200.
29,000 hole-in-ones a year.
Yeah.
So they got to send out 29,000 pieces of paper.
Yeah.
It's a lot of ink. It's a lot of paper, but it's doable. It's doable.
I like it. It's like when you get a signature from a famous person, an athlete, it gets authenticated. It has the little piece of paper that it's like, this is an authenticated signature. Now the question becomes, they would have, that organization would have to come up with the criteria that we've argued a lot on this show, par 3 courses. Does that count? They got to decide that. I'm not going to decide it. They got to decide,
Clubhouse decides that, I think. Before you enter the name in that website.
What do you mean? You can't have
you come into the clubhouse, you say, I just got a hole-in-one. And the person who's at the computer, they're the decider on if they're sending your name or not.
No.
Really?
That's a conflict of interest. Because they as a club are going to want hole-in-ones because it's like publicity. You need a governing body like this hole-in-one thing that we came up with to lay out the rules of what's a real hole-in-one.
So now the clubhouse has to decide and get all the information. I'm saying they have to consume all of this information. You have to say it was a par 3 course. There was mats.
Yep. And there's somebody at this hole-in-one organization that has a big stamp that says yes or no. And they go yes or they go no. And that's it. They're the governing body of hole-in-ones. Do you want, as a consumer of this product, do you want the no sent to you? Absolutely. Yeah, me too. This organization has to have some self-awareness because that's a funny thing to send out. Because it's like getting accepted to college. You get it in the mail. If you got a hole-in-one in a situation where you're like, I'm not sure if that's going to count, whether that be a par 3 course or whatever, you just send it in. You and your club send it in, and you see if you get your hole-in-one acceptance letter. You wait a month, and you get the letter in the mail. Everybody gathers around. Everybody's at the clubhouse real excited, and you open it up, and you either got a hole-in-one or you didn't. Wow. I kind of love it. I really love it. We're not going to do it, so it's a free idea for whoever wants to start the, what was it? All-World Hole-in-One Organization. Yeah. No, Headquarters. Headquarters. Yeah. All-World Hole-in-One Headquarters. That's, yeah. That's a great idea. So yes, I think that club to what was his name? Cody. Was it Cody? Cody, you should have gotten something. And we not only should you have gotten something, you should have gotten something from this organization. And we're going to build it. We're going to figure it out. Hopefully someone just takes the idea. But this is going to come to fruition and everyone's going to get their recognition because it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing feat. If people die saying, I'll never get a hole-in-one, like that's a thing all people say, like I'll die before that happens. It's got to be worth something. Certainly, it does. It's got to be a moment. It's sad for Cody that they're basically just like giving him a handshake and getting the fuck out of here. No, there's got to be more to it than that. Uh-oh. We got a situation here where Frankie is fading in and out, messing with the cord again. You got to get a new cord, I think. Nope, you're still out. All right, I'm just going to throw this thing to Tyrrell Hatton. This is a guy that we've wanted to have on the show for a very long time. He is one of the more fiery individuals on the golf course. Danny and Riggs talked to him for an hour, so please enjoy this interview with Tyrrell Hatton.
Vroom. Vroom is a better way to buy your next ride. You never have to haggle or negotiate the price of a car, so you know exactly that you're getting a good deal with Vroom. With thousands of cars available on Vroom.com, you can make sure that you get the ride you actually want. You do not have to settle. In this car market right now, that's an incredible selling point by Vroom.
This is a great service because I'm not a guy who negotiates. I'm intimidated by the whole process. I don't want to just walk up onto a lot and have the salesman come up to me. And I know that we're doing this dance, this theater of he's got a number, I've got a number. What's the number we're going to land on? Am I getting a deal? Is he taking advantage of me? Vroom takes care of all that. You don't have to worry about any of it.
And one of my favorite parts of this entire experience is that you get a full week or 250 miles to make sure that your new ride that you just got is right for you. So you can actually just give it back if you don't like it. So plus all cars on Vroom.com come with a 90-day limited warranty and a 1 year of roadside assistance on the house from Nationwide, giving you peace of mind while you are on the road. You can trade in your old car when you buy your new one, or you can even just sell your old car to Vroom. When you sell your old car in Vroom, you get a price instantly, and they'll even come pick it up from you. This is just the least amount of work you can possibly do by buying and selling a car. So buy your next car entirely online at Vroom.com. Vroom is the better way to buy a car. So if you're a car lover and you're looking to buy something unique, or you're a busy parent who's always on the go and you do not have time to go shop and haggle and deal and negotiate the car the old way, just visit Vroom.com.
All right, folks, we're joined for the very first time by a very special guest, one of my favorite players to watch play golf in the entire world. He's currently the 17th ranked player in the world, been as high as 5th, 6-time DP World Tour winner, also PGA Tour winner, the red cardigan, the whole deal down at Bay Hill at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, member of 2018 winning European Ryder Cup team. And like I said, maybe from a pure entertainment factor, the most interesting man to watch play golf on earth, Tyrrell Hatton. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Are we? I assume we're getting ready, gearing up for a little Ohio golf this week.
Yes, so we arrived last night, and I think I've only played this tournament once. I think it was 2018. So I know they've made some changes to the golf course over the last few years. So, yeah, I guess I'll be excited to see what that's like.
I mean, Riggs introduced you as the most entertaining man in golf, and you were kind of smiling because, you know, I think you're full well aware of your reputation, showing emotion out there. Do you feel like people have it wrong, or do you feel like it's a fair way to categorize you?
Well, yeah, I guess certain things that I do on the golf course that maybe gives that impression, or some people don't like it. It's kind of a mixed bag, I guess, but I'm just being me, so I'm not really too worried about it.
I couldn't fathom people not liking it. That's just bizarre. Like, why do you watch sports? Why do you watch anything? Why do you watch TV if you don't enjoy someone wearing their heart on their sleeve, being emotional, being passionate out there? We've talked about this a lot with John Rahm, but if you're not, if everyone's just some monotone, drip out there, the entertainment value would suck.
Yeah. Everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone reacts in different ways. I'm certainly not afraid to show what I'm feeling. I guess a lot of it as well, you'd probably see it at the local golf course at a weekend anyway. So just relatable.
Absolutely. Yeah, we post clips all the time on we try to post these viral clips, social media. People lose their fucking minds on the golf course all the time.
Yeah.
Has it always been this way? Have you always been a super fiery player, like growing up? Because you said you're just being yourself, and I think the personality of a golfer has to be authentic in a certain way. You're just being yourself out there. So have you always had that kind of fire as you played?
Yeah, I had some pretty, I guess, bad moments as a as a junior growing up with my temperament at times. Yeah, I've always been fairly hot-headed on the golf course. It's never, I guess it has settled down in some ways, but it's, the fire has 100% always been there.
Is it nice now that you're an adult? You can just like nobody, like when you're a kid and you're doing that, like you have a coach, you have people that can like yell at you. Now you're an adult, like you can kind of you do whatever the hell you want out there.
Yeah, well, it depends how stubborn you are anyway, with people telling you certain things, whether or not you listen to it. No, there's times where, certainly for me now, like I know within myself if I've crossed that line, if I've gone too far, and sure, times there has been those times, and I wish I'd probably reacted differently. But ultimately, I'm not like trying to put anyone off or anything like that. I don't want to be affecting my playing partners. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
We talked to John Rahm, and he's said that he feels like his fire helps him on the golf course. There are some times when you're playing and you're in contention where some of the announcers are speculating that, maybe he's spending too much energy, getting angry, or maybe he would move on faster if he didn't react so strongly. Do you feel like your temperament helps, hurts, or doesn't really affect your play on the golf course?
I wouldn't. Most of the time, no, it doesn't affect how I'm playing. For sure, I'd be pretty angry, but I'd still have a clear head and know what I'm trying to do over the next shot. Although I'm still visibly sort of frustrated, I guess with how I feel within myself, I don't ever feel like I'm using energy with doing that over affecting how I'm then going to go play the rest of the round of golf. For me, it doesn't really work like that. We're used to playing a lot of golf anyway.
How are you when you drive like a car? Like if somebody cuts you off, what happens? Somebody, like, what's your reaction?
My manager Danny, every time we're on the phone, I'm in the car. He just starts laughing at me because I don't hold back in the car either. It's just annoying though, isn't it, when people cut you up or do stupid stuff like that?
People are.
It's annoying when you get bad bounces on the golf course. It's all annoying.
Horrible drivers. And a lot of people, most people are idiots too. So you have these idiots in these machines on the. It's a disaster. I don't blame you out there. Out there, it's chaos.
Yeah. Road rage is real.
Yeah, it'd be funny if you were. It would have been very funny if you're only on the golf course. You're just kind of, be a little hot-headed. People cut you off. You're like, oh, come on in here.
Yeah.
Just all day.
No, the opposite.
Let's get into your relationship. You've got kind of a unique relationship with your father, who I believe has been kind of your only swing coach. Tell me about growing up and kind of balancing that. Because obviously there's a lot of parent-child dynamics, and then there's coach-child dynamics, and you're trying to balance those, and I'm sure those lines can get blurry at times.
Yeah, at times it can be. It has its challenges. But yeah, my dad's been my coach since I was 10, I want to say. It was either 10 or 11. He was made redundant from his job and decided that he would do all the coaching and custom club fitting courses, and so now he's run a business teaching and custom club fitting from the studio on the side of the house. It's been obviously had its highs and lows in that sense of working together, but yeah, generally it's been good. We've always kept things extremely very simple. Never tried to do any big changes really with the golf swing, and that's always a good thing because it shows like even at times when you're struggling, it's always going to be something very simple with a setup or maybe even a rhythm thing on the day, a ball position. It's always something small. And then just the first part of my takeaway really is kind of once that's in, then, and I feel comfortable with that, we're kind of good to go. But yeah, my dad's put a lot of time into my golf, many hours in the evenings as a kid, doing some work in the studio and taking me to tournaments as well. So yeah, fortunate the amount of time that he's put into it.
Must be very easy for you to just disagree, or him to just disagree with you, since you guys are father such. Be like, no, that ain't it, or that's not working.
Yeah, we have our moments. Certainly if I don't want to listen anyway, then it can be a little bit awkward. But I guess in some ways he'll just he'll just leave me to it now and let me give myself a moment to figure it out. How
is it being a English guy through and through, Liverpool fan, I believe. Now you're living in Orlando, in Florida. What's that transition like? What's that sort of life like for a guy like you, who, like I said, feel like England and sort of that background is almost the exact opposite of Orlando, Florida?
Yeah, well, home is still the UK. That's like true home. Yes, we've had a place in Orlando for a couple of years now. I rented with some friends in 2012. We were at Championsgate when we were playing Hooters Winter Series. So we were, just playing 1 day events, 2 day events in Orlando that year. So when we came out in 2017 to try and get temporary membership, I wanted to be somewhere that was kind of felt familiar. I loosely knew my way around a little bit. I didn't want to go to a completely new space, new area on a week off and be like, I don't know where anything is. So yeah, we started in Orlando and down at Championsgate, and then we ended up going to Lake Nona from 2018, and we've been there since. It's pretty mad. It's a lovely place to be, especially inside the gates. Very different from what I grew up with in the UK. But the other good thing about Orlando is there's 5 flights a day back to London, so it's really easy to get home. It's easy for family to come out and visit. And generally, the weather's nice, and on weeks off, because it's so different, it almost feels like you're on holiday. We don't have houses with pools in the UK, so little things like that is a nice thing to have.
Houses with pools is like industry standard in Florida. Like that's just what I know. You got married in Asheville, North Carolina. Wouldn't expect that. Tell me your connection to that area.
Yeah, so obviously with COVID, like a lot of things kind of were pushed back a bit. We had actually planned to get married in Italy, and with COVID, that was kind of getting delayed, and we were told about Asheville by some friends. So we looked into it and decided that rather than push back getting married another year, we would just go and elope up there, just me and Emily. And then for our 1 year wedding anniversary, which was actually on just Saturday, just gone.
Congrats.
We went to we went through the ceremony again in Italy, so in Florence last year. So it was our 2 year wedding anniversary. Sorry. So we effectively had 2 weddings, which was nice. But Asheville is a cool spot, good for beer too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you get after it that week?
Loosely. There was a few hazy IPAs consumed, but we didn't spend too many times in the brewery. It's not really Emily's. She'd be happy to go to a couple and then be like, should be done. She's not really a beer drinker anyway, so.
Italy, is she a wine? She's gonna be a wine drinker. She likes wine.
She does, yeah. She'd say I'm a bad influence. So yeah, she enjoys mainly red, but we've also just started drinking a little bit more white wine. So don't fear the grape juice.
Are you guys like seasonal with your wine? You doing white wine when it's nicer out, red wine when it's a little chillier?
Well, I feel like white wine's easier if you're going to day drink as well, especially when it's hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was just after Charlotte. We went back to Orlando, and we had some friends over on the Monday, and he just had a nice week at Wells Fargo. So we ended up opening a fair few bottles of wine and enjoyed our Monday at home. The Tuesday morning flight was a bit frosty, but frosty. Yeah, it was.
I love that.
All good fun.
What do you like to, money wise? What do you like to splurge on? Is it wine? Because I mean, this last year, a couple of years, you've had some big finishes this year and some elevated events. Good amount of coin coming in. Are you like a car guy? I know like Ian Poulter's a big car guy. Are you a wine guy? Are you what are you, a vacation guy? I know you guys just went to Italy. You're gonna have a wedding every year.
No.
You're 2 for 2 so far. Feels like. What do you like to do? What do you like to get at?
No, I mean, conservative, I guess, in a way. I enjoy cars, not to the extent that Pulse does. But yeah, we've got a new car arriving soon, which is cool. It's nice to. We've been on a few holidays as well, so it's always nice to have experiences rather than just things. When you have experiences, they always last longer, and that you like fond memories, I think, are more important than just items that seem to just come and go throughout your life. I think they're more meaningful, to be honest.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the golf capital of the world, and was recently voted America's favorite buddies trip destination. If you are looking for a good time and a golf trip where you will leave with memories that will last a lifetime, Myrtle Beach is that spot. We've talked about it endlessly, how good Myrtle Beach is. It is for all budgets, for all types of play. They've got more than 70 golf courses ranging from high-end top 100 golf courses in the world to wide open, player-friendly golf courses, perfect for a laid-back round of golf with your buddies. If you want to plan a golf trip, make sure that you go to playgolfmyrtlebeach.com. They'll have all the info on these golf packages, courses, hotels, things that you can do in one convenient place. And by the way, if you're a group leader who organizes this buddies trip, you're eligible to play for free. All you have to do is just ask the package partner when you call or when you book on Play Golf Myrtle Beach's website. For more info, when you plan your golf trip, say that you are the organizing leader, and you might even be able to play for free. And then we're giving away an amazing sweepstakes here, which is if you visit foreplaymyrtlebeach.com and enter to win, you are entering to win a golf trip for you and 3 buddies down to Myrtle Beach. It's a 3-day, 3-round golf trip for you and 3 different buddies. We're giving that thing away on foreplaymyrtlebeach.com. It's amazing. So make sure you go and enter. Visit that website. We love Myrtle Beach so much. We've got a bunch of videos coming out from Myrtle Beach in the next 2 weeks. So make sure you go to our YouTube page to check those out. We played Caledonia, and we also played Barefoot Pete Dye Golf Club. Pete Dye Club.
My dad is still talking about it. I was just back home last week, and we haven't done this trip. We were there a month ago. The first thing he said to me was like, how great was that trip? I was like, it was awesome. Myrtle Beach is the place to go to make memories.
Breweries, bars, restaurants, nightlife, golf destination like no other. Play Golf Myrtle Beach, foreplaymyrtlebeach.com. Enter to win that 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach right now.
Do you enjoy playing tournament golf? Because sometimes out there it looks a little like torturous.
Yes and no. Although it might not look like fun to me, it is fun when you've got a chance to try and win on Sunday. If you're, when you go through phases of missing cuts, or you make the cut and you're sort of near bottom of the leaderboard for the guys that are playing the weekend, then they're always like the hardest things, because ultimately that's not the position that you want to find yourself in on a Saturday or Sunday, and You're trying your best and things aren't really happening, and I'd say those times aren't as fun. This year's been a little bit different compared to the last year and a half, 2 years, where we've been amongst it a bit more on a Sunday, which is, ultimately is what we're playing for. You want to be trying to win as much as possible. So yeah, that's what it's all about, really.
Right, and it's not like you unravel, because the last tournament I think you played, the PGA Championship, was a good example. You were like $1 million over par through 8 holes, and you kind of crept your way up the leaderboard. I mean, what were you, 6 over through 7 or something crazy?
I was 7 over through 9 on Thursday.
Okay, 7 over through 9, and you ended up finishing 15th. So even if you're kind of upset, you have a way of keeping it on the rails golf wise.
Yeah, ultimately, like all you can do is just keep going. You can only give 100% every time, and ultimately, yeah, you're going to have days where you don't play well, but you can only be really disappointed with yourself if you gave up, like if you stopped really trying. And I was proud of how we recovered in that tournament. It was certainly a shock to the system, to feeling pretty comfortable with where I was at with my game, to then come out the gates and be 7 over through 9 on it was a tough golf course. You didn't really have to do that much wrong to make bogey, so to have my back that far against the wall so early in the tournament was definitely not ideal. But to keep trying and see what we can do. I mean, even though we finished 7 over on Thursday, I kind of said to Emily and Danny that I think if I shoot 2 under tomorrow morning, I think we've got a chance to beat it for the weekend. And I end up bogeying the 9th, which is our final hole on Friday, to shoot 2 under for the day, which was only, I think, 1 of 7 scores under par that morning. So I was proud of that round with how hard it was playing, and ultimately, yeah, it was just about good enough to get us through to the weekend. And it's also a pride thing. Like, no one enjoys missing cuts. You want to be fighting to be up there for the weekend. And yeah, I was happy that I then continued that good play and had a respectable finish in the end.
Missing cuts has to suck. Like cleaning out your locker,
getting rid of it.
Oh, that must just suck.
Well, it's almost like we've all done it. It feels in a way like a bit of a walk of shame out of the locker room, your flight bag packed, and it's not a nice feeling. You don't even have to play bad to miss a cut though. Standard is so good every week. But professional sport's not meant to be easy.
I've been screaming this from the mountaintops that I think it's a huge mistake that they're getting rid of the cuts for the designated events next year, for the reason that you just mentioned, that you guys hate missing them and you think about them and they matter. What's your opinion on that, on getting rid of the cuts in those big events next year? You're going to be playing in all of them.
I agree with what you're saying in a way. It's a shame to miss the cuts, but from being able to play in them, it's a nice, how do you describe it? You just say a comfort blanket in a way. You're going to be there you're there for the whole week. It's easy to just know what you're going to do. You don't have other things getting involved. Ultimately, everyone's known about the elevated events from basically the start of this year and how important the top 50 is on the FedEx this year. And you go out and you earn your place there. It's not given to you. If you're playing in them, you deserve to be there. And so it will be interesting to see how it plays out next year, if they go down well or not. But I mean, I think I've got enough points up now that I should be fairly close. But hopefully I'll be a part of them anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, if you're Tyrrell Hatton right now, then no cuts are great. It's like, why would you going into next year if you're in that position? You're like, I don't. For me personally, it's fantastic. Even if from an objective standpoint, might not think or it's the right thing or whatever. But anybody that's in there is going to love it because it eliminates a lot of that stress. Do you get nervous out there on the course?
At times, yeah, definitely. I think if people say you don't get nervous, then they're probably lying to you. I think being nervous is a good thing. It's also, you're nervous because you care, and you're in the position that you want to be in, and that's the chances to win the tournament. So yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. I mean, that 2-foot putt that I left myself to win at Bay Hill, I mean, the putter head was shaking behind the ball, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe I've left myself at like 2.5 foot down the hill on these greens. I mean, yeah, it wasn't a nice putt to leave myself anyway, but yeah, I was definitely nervous over that.
Big part about being a caddy is being like kind of a part psychologist, and I would think that Mick that's a big part of his job, because you're talking to him constantly. Does he respond? Does he quit back? Does he just sort of nod? What is his attitude when you start to talk to him about the bounces or the greens?
Yeah, well, Mick, he's just had he had knee surgery, had a half knee replacement during Masters week, so he's off for a bit of time now. So I've been working with Bo, who used to work with Shane. I think they were together for 4.5 years or something like that. But Mick and Bo are good friends, so it worked out sort of nicely in that sense. But yeah, Mick would be more quiet than Bo. Mick would just not really say too much, and then once he's sick of hearing it, he'd probably just he would just tell me to basically shut up and get on with it. So I think everyone reaches a threshold of when they can hear it so much, and it gets to a point of, okay, you're done now, just stop.
Do you think like Mick, Bo, Greller, Adam Hayes, maybe Ted Scott a handful of years ago, you think they have like a Sunday night like support group? They get like a beer and they just kind of hash it out a little bit?
Yeah, that probably they all have their own ways of de-stressing. Yeah, it's caddying's not an easy job, that's for sure. With what they have to listen to, what to go through on a daily basis of a tournament week. So yeah, the guys work hard, and they're a massive part of everyone's team.
I have a ton of respect for you to have the gumption and the bravery to speak up about Augusta National in 2022. You made some comments that you felt like the setup wasn't great. I think a lot of people thought you were going to get like struck by lightning right away because you said something, or that some green coat would, some sort of trap door, or some sort of like anthrax letter. Do you ever get any blowback from that? Did anyone ever get any letter, or was it just like normal? You went on with your life?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think like what I actually even said. I still don't even think it was that bad. It was, again, like, I was just being very, very honest, but apparently you can't say anything remotely negative. Apparently everything has to be perfect, which is just false. Like nothing's perfect. There's always going to be something wrong. And if you're getting told that everything's amazing, then, it's just, you're living in dreamland, really. You need like negativity sometimes in a, I guess, maybe more constructive way to get better. But that was it was an awkward time for me, really, because I was so disappointed because I shot 79 on Saturday, which was not great, and then Masters Sunday with all the pins that we all know from growing up watching it as a kid, and I just played horrific again. And I remember standing over a putt on 18. It was like a 3.5 foot putt, and I was like, please don't miss this and not break 80 on Sunday at the Masters. And just obviously missed that, shot 80, and wasn't a happy boy. And signed my scorecard, finished DFL for the Weekend Warriors, and a guy in a green jacket was asked me to do some media, and I'm like, what?
You're like, you asked me.
I'm like, why? Why would I want to do it? I've just shot 15 over for the weekend. Like, I have nothing good to say. And he's like, no, we'd really appreciate it if you can do media. I'm like, but I don't want to. He's like, yeah, but we'd really appreciate it. I'm like, so I walk over and answer some questions. And I mean, I'm trying to think what did I say about it?
You said that good shots aren't awarded. Basically, that sometimes you hit good shots and they bounce and they take these crazy bounces, and it's not necessarily a great test because sometimes there's luck involved.
Yeah, I do feel like you can hit pretty good shots around there, and they almost don't end up where a good shot kind of could. It's very, I think ultimately that place is so precise. It just ends up being brutally difficult if you miss certain things by barely an inch. Like, you can hit you probably make the same golf swing twice on every hole, and the ball lands in a slightly different spot, and you can either shoot 67 or 77. It's just it's mad in places of how precise you have to be.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think, it's funny if somebody says that about a US Open setup, it's one of, 75 people that have said it that week or whatever. We're used to hearing it. And somebody says it about Augusta, it jars people a little bit, which is to Dan's point. It's like, they're so protective of everything, but, it's, you should be able to. And like he said, so the guy asked you, he demanded that you answer the questions. Like, what are you going to say? I just shot 80.
Well, I mean, I don't think too many people would be very positive in an interview if they were just 15 over for the weekend. But it's it is a special place though. Like, I'd say only Augusta and St Andrews are the two, for me, I think the two golf courses that you'd walk onto and you feel like you're like somewhere special. It has like a certain feeling about it. So the kid inside me is buzzing to be there, but I certainly struggle around that golf course. So playing the week is maybe not as enjoyable as what people think it might be.
I had a vodka seltzer the other day, and I said, "There's vodka in this."
Was it a Truly?
It was a Truly vodka seltzer, brand new, just right out of the old invention lab. Truly vodka seltzer made with real fruit juice. They keep it light. They like to keep it real. That's why they use absolutely no artificial flavors or sweeteners. They have been a proud presenting sponsor. We've been proud, and hopefully they've been proud as well. But I'm going to say that we've been very proud to have them as a presenting sponsor of the Barstool Classic for, I think, now 5 years.
Yep.
Truly is just synonymous with Foreplay Golf and Barstool Golf and the Barstool Classic. We love them so much. We consume those drinks on the golf course. And now the fact that they are made with premium vodka for a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste. They have fewer calories. All these 12-ounce cans have under 110 calories, which means plenty of refreshing flavor that will not weigh you down. And they're lower on sugar. Every Truly vodka seltzer contains only 2 grams of sugar. We freaking love this thing. It's just so good. Springtime, summertime, right now you need that refreshing light taste on the golf course, and that's exactly what Truly Vodka Seltzers are. So find Truly Vodka Seltzer near you right now at trulyhardseltzer.com. You got to go to those store locators. You got to see where they're at and make sure that you can go secure yourself Truly Hard Seltzer, Truly Vodka Seltzer near you, trulyhardseltzer.com.
Talk to me about the Ryder Cup. Obviously, 2018 was an incredible year. I was over there. There was a lot of doubters, I would say, of the European squad going in. The U.S. team the year before had kind of a record-setting performance at the President's Cup. Alan Shipnuck had essentially said that for the next decade, it's USA all the way. You guys were dominant. You guys gelled as well as any team I've ever seen anywhere. What are kind of your takeaways, your memories from that whole year and that whole experience?
Yeah, that was a pretty special week. I think playing first Ryder Cup in front of a home crowd was really special. I mean, that grandstand behind the first tee was like a joke. And I remember, that Friday morning going out in the four balls, I was actually more nervous on the range, to be honest. And then I had a really nice warm up. My dad was there, and what I talked about earlier with sort of positioning my swing just at the start of my backswing, I was slotting that like nicely every time, and I felt comfortable with the feeling that I needed to get it there. So then it was a case of just allowing myself to go and play, and walking down to the first tee, and you kind of loop back on yourself, and then you're looking at full grandstand, and the atmosphere was just something that I'd never experienced before. It was just something was in the air, like just electric. It was really cool. And I remember going through sort of pre-shot routine, standing behind the ball and swinging the club, and everyone kind of cheering. And then you step into the ball, and you could just, it was almost like it just went woof. You could hear a pin drop, and the amount of people that were around that tee to I almost like was stood over the ball. I was like, this is mad. And ended up hitting 3 down the fairway, and felt about 5'9" walking off that tee, which was a nice feeling.
Where are you at, going into this year's Ryder Cup? Are you lobbying? I mean, you're really close on world points. It feels like you should be a lock on the team, in my opinion. But with, chatting with the team, with Luke, sort of, how's that process going?
Yeah, it's been good so far. Luke's been pretty on it. We've had there's been a few dinners and stuff that a few of the guys have been attending, so I guess trying to create a bit, the team environment already, which has been fun. Like we all get on well, so it's pretty easy for us to all be together. But yeah, it's just it's still what is it? I'm trying to think what month we're in now. May. So we've still got quite a few months till September. There's a lot of golf to be played between now and then. And with there being 6 picks this year, it's going to be certainly different to the previous years. So far, we're in a nice position on the world list, and ultimately, like I want to try and qualify through merit and not rely on needing a pick. It's always it can always be a bit, I guess, a uncomfortable time if you're effectively relying on being one of those picks. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, there's a lot of golf to be played between now and then. But so far, so good.
You guys have kind of a new wave. I mean, the last Ryder Cup felt like it was probably the last Ryder Cup for age, even before all the live stuff for the kind of Poulters and Paul Casey's and Lee Westwoods, and then now there's a core that's kind of you, Rory, Rahm, Victor, Fitz. Do you guys feel like you're taking on more of a leadership role this cycle?
I mean, for me personally, I would say no. It doesn't feel any different to previous years of trying to qualify for the team. I'd say compared to the previous years, with just sort of being a few guys being together a bit more, like I said, at certain tournaments, and we all go out for dinner. That's been maybe something different so far. The team maybe looks in a transition, but change isn't a bad thing either. So and it happens at one point or another. And if speaking for myself, if I'm lucky enough to play in a few more down the years, then by that time my time's kind of come to an end in that sense, and there'll be other guys that are better players and stuff that come through, and everything moves forward, doesn't it?
How so the European Tour, DP World Tour, phenomenal on the content front. How infuriating was it doing the hole-in-one challenge? I know you guys only did, I think, 50 balls instead of the 500, but how infuriating was that?
Yeah, that was annoying, actually. We did that Scottish Open, was it last year? Was it last year?
I think it was a couple of years ago. I think it was 21.
Yeah, it was. It's not like me to moan about a pin position, but yeah, they could have helped us out a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we were just hitting I think we're hitting a wedge, or sort of a 3/4 wedge, and the greens weren't spinning enough, and you basically had to land it almost in the hole to have a chance of it going in. And there was a lovely little slope, like 10 feet left. If they just moved it a little bit further to the left, it would have come a bit more off it, and we'd have a chance.
It's the course. It's the green's fault.
Yeah.
It's the green's fault.
Look,
it's course setup, man. Nobody can get it right.
I mean, whoever put that pin, they must.
We got to get you in golf course design. We got to get you to design your own golf course, because then you wouldn't be able to complain about it. You know what I mean? It would be like, this is my course.
No, I'll always find something to moan about. That will remain true.
It's not surprising.
Yeah.
Have you haven't been out there yet, right? This week you just got in town.
Yeah, I said I arrived last night. Spirit Airlines, beautiful.
Nice. Spirit Airlines. You flew Spirit Airlines. How much money you made this year?
Well, no, I was just traveling on my own, and I wanted to try and maximize how much time I got at the house. And there was I think one of the latest flights there was, and it was Spirit at like 9:20 from Orlando. So I was like, look, I'm just on my own, so it doesn't really matter. It's just I just wanted to be at home as long as I kind of could. So yeah, that was basically one of the last flights. So that was the one that we chose. No problem. Sat on the plane, watched Netflix, and all good.
You watch anything good? You watched the McGregor thing yet?
Yeah, I actually I watched that last week. So I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it yesterday on the flight as well. I thought it was really good. I hadn't really realized how many downs he's had. It had a lot of parallels, I felt like, to the Tiger thing. As a big Tiger fan for the last 20 years of, you think about all the highs, the champ, the whole deal, but it was very motivational. I felt like inspiring how some of his lows are unbelievably low, and for him to keep battling through that, it was very inspiring.
Yeah, it's and also showing how hard he works too. Yeah, just pretty impressive. But that injury with his ankle, even with the sound effects to go with it, just
they did. They did, dude. They put in an outrageous sound effect. It was when he snapped there. They're like, You're like, oh, I was on the plane. I was like, oh my God, I almost puked.
Yeah, so I kind of knew what's coming because I remember seeing the stuff on social media when he had injured himself. And so I knew it was coming, but Emily didn't. And she hates that kind of thing. Not many people enjoy seeing that today, but so I kind of just sort of sat like with almost a bit of a smug look on my face because I just knew what was coming. I knew she was going to hate it. And her reaction was it was funny. She wasn't happy. But in terms of what I was watching, I started the Diplomat.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so that was so I'm two episodes in. I think it's eight episodes in the series. So US ambassador.
Did you watch Succession?
No.
No Succession. Wow, we're big Succession guys on this show.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, Succession's a good one. It's a very good one. It just finished up. I watched. I'm like 2 episodes into Chimp Empire too, and that one's pretty damn good.
Okay, I haven't. I've seen it on when you're just swiping through to see what ones are gonna take your fancy.
I don't know that I could binge it because it's like I don't know that I could take 4 straight hours of just following chimps around in the fucking forest. But like I might watch like one every couple days and get through it. It's only like 4 episodes, I think, but it's pretty good. I had heard it's really good.
Might be unpopular, but I thought Beef was terrible. Couldn't get into that.
Beef.
I haven't seen it.
No. What is it about? Like the meat industry?
No. Wait, you've worried me now. I think it was called Beef. Yeah.
What's it about?
Oh, it's like going back to road rage. It starts off with a road rage incident, and then basically these two trying to get like one up on each other and basically ruin each other's lives. Yes, it was so slow, and then the like a 45-minute episode or whatever, and you're watching it, you're like, why am I watching this? And then the last 2 minutes of the episode, you're like, oh, is it going to be good now? So you start the next one, and then it's shit.
Oh.
So and then
that's annoying. That's infuriating.
They save the best for the last 2 minutes. Oh, it's strategic with streaming. They want you to just keep going.
Yeah.
That was how like The Night Of, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show like a handful of years ago when that one came out, but that was similar where it'd be kind of slow and then the last 2 minutes something wild would happen that you had to keep watching. Then you had to keep watching, and by the end of it, after 8 episodes or whatever, you're like, that just wasn't that good.
Yeah, it's always disappointing when that happens.
Golf Galaxy. Golf Galaxy is a dream come true for all golfers. They've got fittings, grips, shafts, lessons, everything you can want. Plus, they have an immaculate amount of technology. It's just you're walking in, you're like, what the hell's going on with all this technology? TrackMan, Biomech. They've got the putting greens. They've got simulators. It's insane. Everything you need to get dialed in. We brought our dads to a Golf Galaxy in Myrtle Beach, and they were absolutely blown away.
They were. They had a really good time. Those simulators were great. The guy helping them was great. They got it fit for new drivers and new putters. Another thing that my dad is still raving about, he loves those new clubs that he has. He got the new putter with the jumbo grip on it. They were able to put the grips on them, no problem. So yeah, they've got everything you need. If you are a golfer and you need anything, literally anything, Golf Galaxy is the place to go.
And with Father's Day coming right up, no more ties for Dad this Father's Day. It's just it's getting old, and he doesn't actually enjoy them.
He's got too many ties.
Get him something that he'll actually want, like personalized golf balls, custom wedges, or clubs that actually fit. You can get him a fitting. Or if you don't know what to get him, Golf Galaxy has gift cards, and you can even buy those gift cards online. It's an amazing thing right now. Last minute Father's Day gift ideas. Definitely go to Golf Galaxy. So head over to your closest Golf Galaxy or go online and shop for the best clubs, hats, shirts, and shoes from all of golf's top brands at golfgalaxy.com. An amazing place, truly an amazing place. Oh, and you can also rent simulators and work on your swing. That place is just, it's a fantasy land for golfers. So go over to Golf Galaxy, check it out, or go online right now.
So what are we expecting out there at Muirfield this week? Have you done any, do you read anything about the changes, or you just kind of show up, get out there and see what you're looking at?
Well, from memory, I remember it being pretty soft and with no rain. I think, forecast for the week, which is a good sign. I'm excited about the prospect of not having mud balls. So I remember that was one thing that did my head in when we were here. In 2018, I remember walking down the first fairway, a lovely tee shot to start my week. And I get down there, you can barely see the golf ball in the fairway because it was just the whole fucking thing just caked in mud. I'm like, oh, lovely. This is going to be great.
Where did that shot go?
Well, it's full hit and hope, but I got fairly lucky with that one. I think I ended up hitting it to about 30 feet, which was a 9-iron, and how much mud was on the ball was more than acceptable. Yeah, that was that wasn't the ideal start to put me in a good headspace to start the week.
She's fragile out there. You can't have fucking mud balls on the first hole. We gotta have a better, cleaner start than that. Do you ever practice hitting mud balls to try to get a grip on what might happen?
No, well, I mean, I guess through experience, it always does like the opposite. So with mud, if there's a load of mud on the left, it should go right. Load of mud on the right, it should go left. So you always try and aim and hope that it kind of does what you think it should. But it's very uncomfortable because you're naturally aiming where you don't want to be aiming. And especially if you get the one that decides to just be an arsehole and goes the complete opposite way to what it's meant to. Like when you're aiming left for it to go right and it goes left. You're like, cool.
Cool. Great.
So glad I just hit the fairway to get absolutely hosed.
Getting riled up just talking about it.
Wow.
We gotta mic this guy up.
You think you should be able to clean the mud off the ball? Is that a policy you would get behind?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, yes and no. I think if the fairways are picking up mud and they know that it's going to happen before we go out and play, if you've hit the fairway, then I don't understand why you need to get punished for then hitting basically a good shot. So it's an all.
I think that's fair.
It's just something else to moan about, to be honest.
we could keep going. We got to find more stuff. We'll just get the longest list we possibly.
Yeah, how about plug lies? Plug lies. What's the deal with those? Right?
Plug lies. Yeah, I had a weird one actually years ago with a plugged one. It wasn't kind of. My ball basically finished in someone else's pitch mark, and then because it wasn't my ball that created the pitch mark, they had to then play it as it lied. So that was that was another nice moment for me. Enjoyed that one.
Where was the pitch mark? Where was it? Was it in the fairway?
Yeah. It was. Where was it? Is it Firestone? Where they don't? Okay. Is it Akron?
Yeah, they're not there anymore. Yeah, it must have been like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but it just came to me. Things were plugged live. I was infuriated at that moment. Yeah.
Would you try to like chunk it? What'd you do?
Was I 30 yards short of the green, so it was just like basically just hitting a massive fat hope for the best, like bunker shot kind of vibe.
Yeah. I can imagine you probably don't. Yeah, you don't respond. You don't love those. It doesn't put you in the right mindset when that happens.
No. If I had a few good ones.
So let's avoid mud balls this week. That's our goal. Let's just, whenever they pan to Tyrrell Hatton, they zoom in on your golf ball. We're all rooting for there definitely not to be any mud on there. That would not be entertaining.
To be fair, I don't think you're not gonna. I don't think you'll be seeing me in the first, at least the first few days. Anyway, we generally don't even sniff at getting anywhere near the TV draws. So.
Wow, is that? So I detect an ounce of salt in that comment.
No, not at all.
No.
He loves it.
That
He's
actually,
happy. He's playing anonymity.
As you know, I do a gambling golf show for the Barstool Sportsbook, and I pick you quite a bit. And I have noticed that you're not visible Thursday through Friday, and you have to basically play well and be in contention for them to show you Saturday, Sunday, which is infuriating because I led the entire show saying that you're one of the more entertaining players to watch. So we got to lobby hard to get you some featured group coverage or something Thursday, Friday, because they never really show you.
Well, yeah. To be honest, I think we're at a stage now where you should be able to see any golfer in that's playing in the tournament even if it was, say, like a subscription of like, you sign up for X amount or whatever, and you can choose 5 players that you want to see. You can see every single shot they hit any tournament. I feel like you should be able to watch whoever you want to watch. Sometimes the coverage on TV, and I enjoy watching. Weirdly, I enjoy watching the golf when I'm on an off week. And yeah, sometimes just tunnel vision on feature groups and isn't. It's not great viewing.
No, it sucks. It's the only sport that's like that. Like if your favorite team, any, soccer team, football, hockey, whatever, even if you're a favorite tennis player, like you can watch every shot that they hit. You can watch every match that they play. In golf, you just can't watch people play golf like by choice. You just can't.
No. So, hopefully that changes as years go by, where viewing will be a bit better on the TV.
We're going to get Tyrrell or not. We got to get you on there more often. I agree.
You probably would have.
All right.
You would have enjoyed the club throw from Byron Nelson if you had seen it anyway, if I was on TV.
Was it like upwards? Was it a downwards? Can you give us like a little breakdown?
Do you know what though? If you did see the video, what I would tell you now before you view it is I genuinely didn't even mean to, like, how this club took off is scary. I was just trying to throw it into the ground in front of me, and there was so much anger, and my right hand was a bit sweaty. Well, I've got like the late release, and this thing has taken off. No, low and left.
Oh no, screamer.
Low left's never good in golf for anything.
Well, I'm lucky there was no crowd. You couldn't walk down the left side anyway, but the flight of the club was probably like the funniest thing about it, almost, because you couldn't even hit a golf ball through the gap in the trees that this thing went through. And once it got through the trees, it had like this cartoon moment of the splash of when it landed in the hazard. The splash like seemed to echo, and it was at the time it was so funny, but I was so angry I wouldn't allow myself to process like the noise, and we just walked up to the green, and I said to Bo when we got up there, I was like, Bo, I didn't mean to throw that club, but the splash. And then as soon as I said the splash, he just erupted laughing, just dying laughing. So then that set me off. Like we had tears, like just stood on the side of the green, just me and him both like our shoulders going, laughing our heads off. But yeah, that we said, we'd go and look for it when we walk up the next hole to see if we can get it back. And yeah, then walking off the green, the one of the media guys presented me my 8-iron back. So that was handy.
That's nice. That's really nice to get it back. I one time was playing in a member like 10 years ago, and this kid went to throw his putter down the fairway, and he just held on to it a fraction too long. And so instead of throwing it straight down the fairway, he held on to it, 20 degrees too long on his arc, and just threw it off a cliff into a hazard off to the side. Way gone. I mean, gone. And then he had to putt out that hole. And then the next hole, he had a huge putt to try to push the match. And he didn't know what to do. And we were like, you can't borrow your teammate's putter. Like you threw your putter off a cliff. So he had to putt it with a wedge. He 3-putted. We ended up winning the match, but he did not. He totally meant to throw it down the middle, threw it off a cliff, and he did the same thing. So club throws are a dangerous game. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but if you're going to throw the putter, you need to know that you're pretty solid with the wedge. You've got a backup.
Yeah, he wasn't. He clearly had never done it before.
No, poor form.
No, it was ugly. Yeah, poor form.
How much better for me anyway, if you are struggling putting and you do have a moment with the putter, how many times on the next green when you've got the wedge out, you just roll it in from 15 feet and you're like...
Tiger practices that way with the wedge to make sure that he's like hitting up on the putts.
Yeah,
if in order to get a good roll, you have to really like strike it the right way.
Yeah, so I've always, when I'm putting with a wedge, I always start with the wedge is on the ground.
You don't hover it.
Nope. I always start with it on the ground and then just make my stroke, and then
Wow. So that you'll go from low to hitting up?
Yeah, but I'm like not even thinking about the mechanics of it. It's just naturally, that's how I've always set up. If I've ever had a wedge out on the green, I've always just done that. It can worry you if you've got like a 50-foot putt, but I haven't topped one or got underneath it a little bit yet. I've always caught it like nicely in the ball. So you go.
How often are you doing this? How often are you putting with your wedges?
I do it sometimes in practice rounds, just because if the golf bag's over the other side of the green, you just can't be asked. Well, you're only just seeing how it rolls down there, so you just hit the putt with a wedge. So I haven't needed to putt with a wedge physically in tournament for a while. I think the last one actually was in Memphis.
It's progress.
Yeah,
we're on a hot streak.
Run at that.
We're on a hot streak.
Yeah, every year I managed to do something club related. So Memphis, it's a hot place, and obviously you get a hot head there too.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's a hot place. It's too hot.
It's too hot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, we getting out to the course today. Going to check it out for the first time.
Yeah, I'm going to go see how many mud balls we can find. And now, joking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
positive vibes this week. We're winning it.
I should be. I'll be the opposite. Negative vibes only.
You should get a hat. You should get a hat that says negative vibes only.
That.
And it's so
trademark that. You could trademark that.
Yeah, Max is what you get. Is it PBO? I'll just go full opposite. But no, we'll go up there today. I think the pro-am's 9 and 9, so it's just a 9-hole pro-am. So I'll probably just do the opposite 9 of that today. But yeah, I'm excited to get out there and certainly see the changes. I imagine the golf course will be in immaculate condition. So that's always a nice thing when you go into a venue and you know that the course is going to be pretty spot on. So, yeah, should be interesting.
Every time Max tweets something like, in a good spot going into the weekend, love this place, # positive vibes only, you should just respond like NVO and just a short video of you throwing a club.
Pin position on 17 was a disgrace yesterday.
Come on, you gotta do it. You got to do it. Talk about PIP. Do you want feature groups? You want feature groups? That's how you get feature groups.
Oh, that would be such a good brand. I love that so much.
Terrible as well.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
NVO.
Well, look, we appreciate it. We very much appreciate the time. I know you just flew in last night, and we talk about you a ton on this show. You're like I said, maybe my favorite player to watch out there. So we got to get you a little more TV time.
Well, I'll try and play as well as I can these over the first few days at least. Then you might see me on TV. If not,
appreciate that.
I played well enough to be around for the weekend.
We appreciate you doing that for us. Obviously, we know you're not doing it for yourself. We know that you just want to make sure we can watch you play.
Yeah. And then I'll just avoid social media from all the...
You got to start responding to Max tweets with just as negative of a tweet as you can come up with. All right,
I'd probably get in trouble.
Thank you very much.
Well, more trouble. But yeah, you're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me on. Sorry if I've bored you now for the best part of an hour. So
no, that's impossible. That's impossible.
You might need some good editing skills to cut out some of it.
I think everything was perfect. We're gonna get you back on. I'm sure there'll be plenty of events that occur between now and whenever we get you on next time that we'll be able to break down. So keep up the good play. We're rooting for you on the Ryder Cup. Make everything more interesting, and yeah, good luck this week.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.